All right, everybody. This has been a crazy start to this video. Everything should be working now. It is the most unintuitive, non-intuitive is probably the better way to say that. The most non-intuitive way to start a broadcast is to automatically mute within the play system or within the recording system the microphone that you're using. And can you hear me on there? Okay, everything's good to go. Okay, all right. So here we are. We are in the at the AFC and NFC Conference Championship games, and what are we going to do? We are going to run some simulations. All right, play now. All right. Now, if we did this, if we picked the automatic one here, it's not gonna let us wait. It's not gonna let us replay it quickly, right? We'd have to go back into the menu and do this whole thing over again, which I think that's fine. Or we can just do it this way. Let's just do it this way. It's fine. All right, we're going to be the Chiefs, but we are going to simulate this. All right, we're keeping track of stats this time. Yeah, we're keeping track of, or at least the. We need to open up the Sheets app here. All right. I'm going to skip all this stuff here. Oh, crowd volume. Goodness gracious, let's turn that off. Jiminy Christmas, I thought I turned all that off. Volume control, crowd. Oh, yeah. Let's turn this crowd off.
You don't want the feel of Arrowhead Stadium?
Well, it's just, let's turn the on the field. Yeah, I don't want all that, because it drowns out us trying to do commentary. We're not doing this for the volume on the field. All right, so we need to go to resume. Okay, we're going to go Super Sim. Okay, I think what we're going to do on this instance, I don't know, are we going to do 10 games or are we going to do 5 games? I don't know. Let's see. All right, we're going to jump forward. We're going to do a quarter at a time. We're going to take our time with this, so we only have 2 games to do. All right. Oh, it's snowing. Okay. First of all, it's not going to snow on Sunday, and the Bengals are up 14-3 at the end of the first quarter. Okay, that's interesting.
I think if you choose that preset option, it always makes it snow.
Because it's January?
Yeah.
Alright, halftime it's 17-13 Bengals.
So if you don't want it to do that, then just maybe.
Yeah, we're not gonna do this mode. Okay, so we got somebody watching us. I cannot pronounce that name. It looks
Christina. It's Christina something.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Is that Russian?
Yeah.
It's a Eastern yeah, it looked
Christina.
Well, welcome to our cannot say that name. But thank you for watching. We're doing simulations of the AFC Championship game, but we didn't get the settings right, so we're gonna start over here. All right, finish this, I guess. It is definitely not going to snow on Sunday. Matter of fact, I think it's going to be in the 50s. No, return to main menu. Here, let me actually look up what the weather's going to be. Sunday, it's going to be a high of 54 degrees. Yeah, it's not going to snow. Okay, exhibition, play now. All right, custom game. All right, we're going to be the Chiefs, and we're facing the Bengals. The Bengals. They used to be girls. The Bengals. They've been gals. All right, ready. Now I think we'll get the chance to. Yeah, here we go. Simulation
I think
exhibition.
they're gone because it shows 0 people.
Oh well. All right.
And it's probably mixed since I probably didn't even understand what we were saying.
Probably not. Windy, light rain, rain, light snow, random, clear. Over. What is it? What's the weather supposed to be Sunday? It's supposed to be clear, no precipitation. So we're gonna do clear. All right. Advance the game. And we are on a PS5, right? My PS5 finally came. Finally got it ordered and placed, and we are good to go with the PS5. We're going to be doing some Horizon Zero, or not Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West in here in about 3 weeks. Okay, Bengals and Chiefs. Nothing, nothing. Okay, here we go. Now we can.
Horizon 1 down.
What?
Horizon 1 down.
One Dawn? What does that mean?
No, there's. Well, the first one was the 0.
Oh, zero. Okay, I get you. I'm sorry. That went right over my head. Okay, jump forward. We're going to do a quarter at a time here. Next quarter. Let's see. Dope Chiefs up 7-0. 14-0. Okay, so Chiefs up 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. All right, next quarter. Bengals, 10 straight points. Oh, they've taken the lead. Oh my gosh, the Bengals, with a 24-point quarter, have taken a 24-21 lead over Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. 31-21. Now it's 31-28. All right, Chiefs down 3 as we head to the fourth quarter. But the Chiefs and Harrison Butker missed an extra point. Now they're up 10. Oh, now they're up 13. Okay. All right, so the Chiefs with a big fourth quarter. So the game was the final score not really indicative of not really indicative of the way the game was. The game went. Obviously, the Chiefs had a big first quarter. The Bengals had a big second quarter. Um, they traded touchdowns in the third quarter, and the Chiefs went way up in the fourth as they shut the Bengals out in the fourth quarter and won the game 44-31. All right, so while we're doing this, all right, so Chiefs 44, Bengals 31. Okay. So Mahomes, 68% completion, 411 yards and 3 touchdowns. Burrow, 354 and 1 touchdown, under 60%. All right. All right, let's restart the game. I like stopping after each quarter. It kind of breaks it up a little bit. All right, Chiefs up 6-0. Butker misses another extra point. All right, Chiefs up 9-0 at the end of the first quarter. Another field goal by the Chiefs. Another touchdown. All right, halftime Chiefs lead 19-7. So Chiefs really in control of this game. Let's see what happens here.
Oh, the reason we saw that person's name up there is because they commented something, and I looked it up, and it's just a bot.
Oh, it's a bot?
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering. All right, so at the start of the fourth quarter, Chiefs up 33-7. All right, so this is so for everybody listening, in which will probably be like 4 people, because there are a handful of people that do watch these videos, and because I do see the stats. This is how I think the game is actually going to go in real life. The Chiefs led this game here 33-7, and then they got a field goal in the fourth quarter, and then the Bengals got 15 points in the fourth quarter. I think this is exactly how the game's going to go on Sunday. I think the Chiefs are going to have a 25 to 30 point lead heading in. The Bengals are going to get a couple garbage time touchdowns to make the score look a lot closer. Like, this is a 14-point Chiefs win. That's the NFL in the playoffs. That's a blowout. Two score win. Obviously, the line right now is 7. Probably going to move to 7.5, which means Vegas is trying to get the numbers on the Cincinnati, trying to get the money on Cincinnati because everybody's putting the money on the Chiefs right now. But yeah, 14-point win. I really think that's really how this game's going to go. I don't see The Bengals had to have a lot of things go their way in order to beat the Chiefs when they played them in Week 17. And even then, they took a perfect game from Burrow and Jamar Chase. Some questionable officiating. We'll just leave it at that. And they still had to have a game-winning field goal as time expired to beat the Chiefs. So, all right. So after one quarter, it's 3-0 Cincinnati. So the Chiefs' offense being held in check here, but a big second quarter. Wow. So that reminds me of the Raiders game several years ago where the Chiefs were down 7-0, or maybe even 10-0 to the Raiders in Oakland when they were still in Oakland, and Mahomes threw 4 touchdown passes, including like 3 to Demarcus Robinson, and the Chiefs led like 28-10 at half. Okay, so here we go, 28-3 at the half. All right, so Chiefs really running away with this game. 28-point lead heading into the fourth quarter. Yeah, this is a certified blowout here. What do we got? Joe Burrow, 50% completion. Look at Pat Mahomes, almost 80% completion, 424 yards and 6 touchdown passes. That would be an NFL playoff record. So 48-17. These games have not been close. All right, restart. Let's do game number 4. Let's not forget, how Cincinnati got here. They got here by getting. They were the benefactor of playing the two of the worst teams in the playoffs. And I know the Titans were the number 1 seed. The Titans were a farce of a number 1 seed. They went 12. That is a 10-7 team masquerading as a 12-5 team. And the only reason a 12-5 team, 28-3, geez. The only reason a 12-5 team got the number 1 seed is because the Chiefs are a 15-2 team masquerading as a 12-5 team. The Chiefs had 3 losses that really they should not have lost to the Ravens, the Chargers, or to the Bengals. Okay,
it's the exact same score at halftime in this game as it was last game.
But they wasn't 4 touchdowns, was it? I thought the Chiefs got a field goal. Was there some weird scoring in there?
It was 28-3 at halftime in the last game.
No, I know, but in this one here, I thought I saw the Chiefs had like at 13 or something at one point. Maybe I just saw it right before the extra point. Okay, so 28-3, 35-3. Jiminy Christmas! This is just okay. So that's something. Okay, I want to comment on that there. So this is one thing why you can't take the Madden Sims too seriously, because it was 35-3, and you saw it. Now, granted, it's going fast. And what did the Bengals do when they were inside the Chiefs' 10-yard line? They kicked a field goal down 35-3 in the AFC Championship game. That would never happen. They would go for a touchdown there. But again, this is computer logic. All right.
It really only goes for it in the fourth quarter in Madden games.
All right, 38-13. That's a win.
Look at his
Mahomes, 80% again. Look, playoff Patrick. Okay, regular season Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Okay, playoff Patrick Mahomes might be the second greatest playoff quarterback in NFL history, behind Tom Brady, and may eclipse Tom Brady someday. Playoff Patrick Mahomes also is Patrick, quote unquote, over my dead body Mahomes. Mahomes it's a different level in the playoffs that he has. Now it's hard to simulate. All right, so Bengals up 7-3 at the end of the first. It's hard to simulate that in a video game, but in real life you see it. Mahomes passes every single eye test. He's a generational talent, and I'm just thrilled to death that he's the quarterback of the team that I cheer for. Yeah, they went for two there. Did you see that? It was 20-7.
Mm-hmm. Surprised the computer went for two.
Jiminy Christmas. These, like, I know. Like I said, these are not. You can't take these as gospel. But this is. I thought these games would be a lot closer than this. They're probably like, whoa,
The
well,
updated stats too.
it is. It's using the updated rosters. Look, the Bengals' offensive line is terrible. Look, the only reason. Okay, so we talked about the. Okay, well, so let's talk about how the Bengals got here. So let's pause for a second. We've done 5 games, and here you want to. Let's do that. Well, that's hard to do that on my phone. All right, but let's pause for a second here and talk about how the Bengals got here. They beat the Raiders 23-17. Or was it 24-17? No, 26-19. 25-18. They beat the Raiders by a touchdown. 26-19. That's what it was. It was 26-19. They beat the Raiders, I think. I think that was the score. Anyway, the Raiders had the ball. They threw an interception on the goal line at the last play of the game. They could have tied the game if they would have thrown a touchdown there. 26-19, is that the
Mm-hmm.
score? Okay. Now, that was the game where we all know that the touchdown pass to, I think it was to Higgins. It wasn't to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase didn't have a touchdown in that game. Um, it that was the play where Burrow looked like he was going out of bounds, and the officials blew the whistle. And he passed it, blew the whistle. The play should have been blown dead. The whistle was clearly blown well before the catch was made in the end zone. Now, should he have blown the whistle? No, he shouldn't have because Burrow did not step out of bounds. It looked like he did. Like I could see how the ref would think that, but he didn't. Okay, but you can't make two wrongs. It's like your parents tell you you're a kid. Like I tell you, two wrongs don't make a right. You can't just not. You can't just undo the whistle is there for a reason, and really the play should end there. So it really should have been dead ball. I mean, the down should count based on where Burrow was when the whistle was blown. I would be okay with letting them replay the down, even though that's still not really in the spirit of the rules if the whistle blows, if they realize they did make a mistake. But you can't allow anything that happens post whistle to stand because the defense, they are trained to stop playing. Okay, so now would Cincinnati still got a touchdown on that possession? It's possible. We don't know. We have no idea what would have happened on that possession if that play would have been blown dead there like it should have been blown dead, and not allowed to continue. And that's one of the reasons why that officiating crew is not officiating anymore in this postseason. It was an absolution dereliction of duty. they did not enforce the rules of the game the way they were supposed to be enforced, and that's why they essentially got fired for the rest of the playoffs. And the Bengals won by 7, and they had to withstand several passes, at the right there in the red zone as time expired by the Raiders. A Raiders team who was 10-7. Of course, the Bengals were 10-7 or 10-7 too. But the Raiders were a team that had to win their last 3 games of the season. They were 7-7. They had to win their final 3 games of the year just to hope to have a chance to get in, and then they needed some things to go right in the final weekend. They had to have the Colts lose to the Jaguars, which they did, and then of course the whole scenario with the Steelers getting in and only if the Chargers and the Raiders don't tie. We don't need to talk about all that. But the larger thing is that the Bengals played a ho hum game. They played a ho hum game against the Raiders. They didn't really make any mistakes. Burrow didn't throw any interceptions. He threw a couple touchdowns. He passed for like 225 yards. I mean, and they were playing at home. The Raiders were coming off an emotional high in one of the greatest end of the season drama that you would ever see, in that game against the Chargers, which was just simply incredible. Um, I never thought that game would end, and then it almost ended in a tie. Then they go on the road to face the number one seed Titans, and I just talked about how the Titans were a fraud of a number one seed, and they really were. I still claim that Tennessee has the third worst quarterback of all 14 teams in the playoffs. Their quarterback is the third worst, in my opinion. And yes, that does mean that Jalen Hurts and Jimmy Garoppolo, I believe, are the only two that are worse than Ryan Tannehill. So what that means is that I think Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. There, I said it. So what do we take away from what Tennessee did or didn't do? Ryan Tannehill, who was a below average quarterback, threw 3 interceptions, including an interception while they were in field goal range to possibly win the game. And then I'll give an assist to who lost that game for the Titans as well, to their head coach, Mike Vrabel, who insisted on playing Derrick Henry, who hadn't played a football, he hadn't taken a snap in a live game in 3 months. Now, Derrick Henry is an amazing running back. He's rushing leader. He's hard to tackle. He's a tough runner. But you can't just not play for 3 months and then come in and play in the divisional round of the playoffs against a talented team. Look, Cincinnati's a talented team, and then just expect to just run for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. I said this last week in several videos. You just can't expect Derrick Henry to do that. And in our simulations, they paired out. They went that way, didn't they? The Bengals won 6 out of 10 simulations that we did last week. And I went back and looked at my predictions. I actually picked the Tennessee to beat them. I thought I went with all my simulation picks, but I didn't. So I went 2-2 last week, not 3-1. So anyway, yeah, Joe Burrow threw for 348 yards last week, no touchdowns. He threw an interception. Again, the interception he threw, I'm going to say it really wasn't his. Was it his fault? It was a tremendous play by the defender. I didn't think it was an interception at first. It went off the receiver's hand and up in the air, and the defender came out of nowhere and scooped it up right before it hit the ground. I thought it hit the ground. Replay show it didn't hit the ground. Some people still say it did hit the ground. It doesn't matter. They count it as an interception. And so Burrow in 2 games has thrown 2 touchdowns and he's thrown 1 interception. No fumbles. But he was also sacked 9 times. Look, you cannot go into a postseason game at Arrowhead Stadium and be sacked 9 times and expect to win. You're not playing Ryan Tannehill in the AFC Championship game. And because you're not playing Ryan Tannehill, or because you were playing Ryan Tannehill in the divisional round, that's why you won. The Bengals scored 19 points. They kicked a game-winning field goal as time expired to win 19-16. So they have scored 26 and 19 points. And there's all these people out there that are talking about, well, it wasn't like they played and beat the Chiefs in week 4, and week 4 game that didn't matter. They beat them in week 17. Let me tell you a little something about that game. The Chiefs were blowing the doors off the barn in the first half. And then what did the Cincinnati do when they got the ball in the second half? They took the air out of the ball. Now, they threw the ball out around the field, but they were deliberate in their clock management. They stayed in bounds even on their pass plays. The Chiefs had the ball 3 times. And on one of those drives, they scored a field goal, which should have been a touchdown and Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill made a mistake on the route that was ran in the call that was played, call that was called. Otherwise, it would have been a touchdown on that drive that they got a field goal on the second half. The other 2 drives, the Chiefs did enough to shoot themselves in the foot, again, by running poor routes and by not executing and by committing stupid pre-snap penalties. Nothing Cincinnati did in the second half. So there's all these people out there saying, well, the Cincinnati defense, they were able to slow down Patrick Mahomes. Well, the Cincinnati defense was on the sideline for the majority of the second half because the Cincinnati offense was on the field. And I'm sorry I'm getting a little animated here, but this is exactly what people don't look at. They look at a box score and they say, oh, Cincinnati held the Chiefs to 3 points in the second half. Man, they shut down Patrick Mahomes. They shut down Patrick Mahomes because the offense of the Bengals stayed on the field almost the entire second half. That's how you shut down Patrick Mahomes. You don't shut him down by, well, I say a couple teams have managed to slow him down. The Bills in week 5 this year, the the Titans, and that's only because they committed 4 turnovers. And then the Titans in Week 7 slowed him down, and that was the last time Patrick Mahomes was slowed down. In revenge games where the Chiefs have lost to a team under under Patrick Mahomes, the only time they have lost the second game was to Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in the 2018 AFC Championship game. They lost to the Houston Texans in the 2018 or the 2019 regular season. What'd they do in the playoffs? Oh, they beat them by 21. They beat them by 3 touchdowns. They lost to the Tennessee Titans in the 2019 regular season game, the game that Patrick Mahomes came back from a knee injury on. What'd they do to the Tennessee Titans in the AFC Championship game? They beat them by 17. What'd they do to the Buffalo Bills this year? Now, granted, that was an amazing game. It took a lot of heart and a lot of determination, but they still came back and they beat the Bills. And, of course, they beat the Bills last year, even though they didn't play them in the regular season, but they beat them in the playoffs. Look, Patrick Mahomes... Oh, I'm forgetting about the Colts game in 2018. Patrick Mahomes is a different cat in the playoffs. His QB rating in all playoff games, including the 2 Super Bowls, and he has his worst numbers in the 2 Super Bowl games. He still has a rating of like a 109. You take out those 2 Super Bowl games, if you don't take out the 2 Super Bowl games, all his games have come at Arrowhead Stadium. He has never played a road playoff game except in the 2 Super Bowls. So when you look at all the rest of his games, which all 10 of them have come, all the other 8 games, he's played 10 playoff games. All the other 8 have been at Arrowhead Stadium. His passer rating is 134. 134. He has thrown, including the Super Bowl, he has thrown 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. At Arrowhead Stadium, 22 touchdowns, 1 interception. And that 1 interception was a tipped pass, wasn't his fault. And against the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, when they won 42 to 7, 42 to 14, whatever the score was. They blew the Steelers away, completely blew them away. Completely overmatched is what the Steelers were. So you've got to be kidding me for people to say that Patrick Mahomes is going to be slowed down at Arrowhead Stadium, where he has thrown no interceptions of his own fault. It was a great play. It was, T.J. Watt batting a ball up in the air, or was it somebody else batting it? No, T.J. Watt batted the ball up in the air, and somebody else picked it off. So you could make the case that Mahomes shouldn't have thrown that pass because he was throwing back across his body. But again, that's a play he makes 99% of the time. And that was just an all-pro player making an all-pro play by T.J. Watt. 1 interception in 4 years at Arrowhead Stadium in the playoffs. But yet the Bengals fans are ignoring all these facts. They're ignoring how their own team got to this game, and they're ignoring what Patrick Mahomes does in the playoffs. They're ignoring that the Chiefs have scored 84 flippin' points in the playoffs so far this year. 84 points in 2 games. I'm sorry, Bengals, you don't have a chance. Okay, that was a really long rant, and I apologize. Here we go, jumping forward. Game number 6. Let's go. I just had to get that off my chest.
I almost wonder if Madden had in a postseason Patrick Mahomes rating that is the same size.
They should. When Patrick Mahomes is at his worst, he is like tier things. The YouTube videos, the tier ratings. You have S tier, and you have A, B, C, D, and F. At Patrick Mahomes' worst, he's A tier. At his best, he's like demigod, above S tier. I know it sounds like I have a man crush on Patrick Mahomes, and I do. I mean, you have no idea. Oh, that was a close game. It's not over. You just have no idea what it is as a Chiefs fan, what we had to go through for so many years
bugle as time expired.
Well, it's better than a loss. So the Bengals actually managed to score more than 24.
That's like the third or fourth time Patrick Mahomes has thrown over 400 yards in these games.
That's the first time the Bengals have scored more than 22 points. Um, so let's talk a little context here about the Chiefs' playoff history, okay? Because someone like you're 16 years old. You started kind of paying attention to the Chiefs in the past 5 years, maybe since Patrick Mahomes came into playing, which has been 4 years. So I started watching the
I like
Chiefs.
to watch before that, like with Alex Smith, but I wouldn't like watch every game.
Right. Well, yeah. Okay. So and Chiefs were good under Alex Smith. They made the playoffs every year except one. Andy Reid has taken the Chiefs to the playoffs every year except his second year, and that year there was just a couple unlucky games. The game at home against Denver, the second was so bizarre. Um, but the one thing about when I became a Chiefs fan in 1989, I was 10 years old. I didn't know anything about football but they had a really, in one of my other videos, I talk about this, so you can watch that. I'll link it in the description below. Once I get to the editing part of this, when I talk about how I became a Chiefs fan and how the city really rallied around the elementary schools and how the Chiefs themselves put out all of these programs to elementary schools to teach kids and the next generation of kids who had been lost. And the reason why Kansas City had lost the generation of fans is because the Chiefs won Super Bowl IV over the Minnesota Vikings. They won 23-7, Super Bowl IV in January of 1970. So the 1969 season, so in January 1970, the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. So, Elijah, let's do a little math here, or a little, maybe I'll give you a little trivia question. When was the next time the Chiefs won a playoff game? So they won the Super Bowl in 1970, January 1970. Just take a guess at the next time they won a playoff game. Your best guess. I know you don't know, but just take a guess.
2012.
No, no. Wasn't that long. Oh my gosh, that would be ridiculous. No, it was actually 1991.
No.
So in 1991, they beat the Raiders 10-6. That's such an awful game. And then they got blown out by the Bills in the second round, in the divisional round. So they went 21 years without even winning a game. Now, have you heard about the longest game in NFL history on Christmas Day, the Chiefs and the Dolphins? Have you heard about that game before?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm surprised you haven't heard about that game. So it was a great game. The Chiefs and Dolphins played one of the greatest NFL games of all time, double overtime, and eventually the Dolphins won the game. Okay, 27-24. That was the last time the Chiefs played in a playoff game until they got blown out by the Jets in 1986. From 1971 to 1986, 15 years, they didn't make the playoffs. And in 1986, they just happened to kind of sneak into the playoffs. And everyone's like, amidst all these bad years they used to play 14 games. So, 4-10, 5-9, 3-11, all these really terrible years. And then they finally go to a 16-game schedule, and the Chiefs go like 10-6. You're like, how did that happen? They won 10 games, and then they lost. And then they were just terrible for the next 2 or 3 years until Marty Schottenheimer came in 1989. They went 8-7-1, and they turned it around and became a consistent winner throughout the 90s. But what they didn't do in the 90s, they didn't win the division until 93 when Joe Montana was the quarterback. And I went back and looked. The Chiefs weren't as good of a team as I remember under Joe Montana. They won 11-5. They won the division. They won 2 playoff games. And I watched the Oilers and the Chiefs game. The Oilers are now the Titans. Okay, I watched that game, a replay on YouTube a couple nights ago. I don't remember Montana. The Chiefs won that game. Okay, to make the AFC Championship game, and then they lost to the Bills. I don't remember Montana being that bad in that game. He was really, really, really good in the fourth quarter. But he threw 2 bad interceptions in that game. And that was the Chiefs won 2 games in the playoffs that year. Of course, they won in 1991. They won 1 game in 91. So under Marty Schottenheimer, From 1989 to 1998, 10-year period, Marty Schottenheimer was the coach. The Chiefs won 3 playoff games. They lost in 1990 to the Dolphins. They lost, of course, to the Bills in the second round in 91. They lost to the Chargers in the first round in 92. They lost to the Bills in the championship game in 93. They lost to the Dolphins in the first round in 94. They lost to the Colts in the divisional round as the number 1 seed in 95. They didn't make the playoffs in 96. They lost to the Broncos as the number 1 seed in the divisional round again in 97. They didn't make the playoffs in 98. Marty resigned. And then 1999, 2000, and then, 1999, 2000, Gunther Cunningham went 9-7 and 7-9, and he was fired. And Dick Vermeil, so no playoffs for either of those 2 years. Dick Vermeil comes in, coaches 5 years, made the playoffs once, number 1 seed, lost the divisional round again. Then he retires. We get Herm Edwards. Herm Edwards goes to the playoffs once, still with a really good offense. Loses in the first round to the Colts. Now, granted, they were the 6th seed. They lost to the 3 seed, the Colts. And then it was just, so that was the year after you were born. So 2000, you were born in 2005. That was Dick Vermeil's last year. They went 10-6, but they didn't make the playoffs. 2006, make the playoffs under Herm Edwards, but they lose in the playoffs. 07, 08, 09 was crap. Utter garbage. 2010, the Chiefs make the playoffs when Matt Castle has a Pro Bowl season as our quarterback out of nowhere. Dwayne Bowe gets like 1,500 yards receiving. The Chiefs win the division under Todd Haley as the coach. What in the world happened? It was like, you want to talk about 2003 Royals all over again, just finding lightning in a bottle? That was the 2010 Chiefs. Then they had a home game against the Baltimore Ravens in the first round. Of course, the Chiefs were the home team. They went 10-6, and they were 11-5. They were 11-5. I think the Ravens were actually 12-4, but they were still a wild card team, if I remember right. The Ravens came in here, and Joe Flacco just completely torched the Chiefs. They lost that game 37-7. They doubled Dwayne Bowe the whole game, and Matt Castle didn't know what to do. Then they fell off the next year. Todd Haley got fired in 2011. And then 2012 was the year that everything went wrong for the Chiefs in 2012 as they went 2-14. One of their middle linebackers murdered his girlfriend and then drove to the stadium and shot himself in the head in front of the head coach and the general manager. I'm not joking. That actually happened.
I didn't know about that.
And then all these people were fired. Romeo Crennel was fired. Scott Pioli resigned. And then it was and then Andy Reid came in 2013. And 2014 was the only year that Andy Reid didn't make the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes took over for Alex Smith in 2018. Now, Alex Smith only won 1 playoff game. He beat the Texans 30-0 in the 2016. It was the 2015 season going into 2000. It was January 2016. There is a lot of things that Alex Smith deserves a lot of credit for, and teaching Patrick Mahomes how to win and how to prepare is one of those. But he could never get over the hump in the playoffs because Alex Smith, he had his limitations as a quarterback. Now, when you get to Patrick Mahomes taking over, we can count them really easily. The Chiefs beat the Texans in 2015 to pre-Mahomes. They beat the Texans in 2015 in the playoffs. They beat the Oilers and the Steelers in the 1993 playoffs. That's 28 years? No, 18 years. It's 18 years difference. They beat the Raiders in the 91 playoffs. 4 playoff wins. Between the Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes. 4 playoff wins and like 11 or 12 losses. So you, as a teenager, looking at me, your dad, the amount of playoff losses that I've dealt with as a Chiefs fan, and I was cursed for so long as a Chiefs fan, as a Missouri Tiger fan, as a Kansas City Royals fan. My teams were the perennial losers, and once in a while, when they had a good season, something would happen and it would rip our hearts out. With Missouri, it was a fifth down against Colorado. It was the kicked ball that should have been an illegal kick in the Nebraska game in '97. It was Tyus Edney, 4.8 seconds when we had number one UCLA beat in the NCAA tournament. It was all this nonsense. It was Madison Bumgarner ripping our hearts out in 2014, and then the Royals avenged it the next year. But Patrick Mahomes has done something for this organization and this city. He has won 8 playoff games. And he's only lost to Tom Brady in the playoffs. He's lost twice to Tom Brady. That's it. Nobody else can beat him.
And one of those losses shouldn't even happen.
You're exactly right. It shouldn't have happened. He should be 9-1.
Lost to Tom Brady.
D Ford lost to Tom Brady 9-1, and I guarantee you they would have beaten the Rams in the Super Bowl that year. You could argue, we could put an asterisk and say he is 10-1 with an asterisk, revisionist history in the playoffs. Because he should have won that. They should have won that game. I know woulda, coulda, shoulda. I get it. But there was nothing Mahomes did that lost that game for the Chiefs. The Chiefs had the game-winning interception. Oh, D Ford was offsides. Replay the down. And then the Patriots took the lead. But then, Patrick Mahomes did drive them down the field for a game-tying touchdown, or take game-tying field goal to send them to overtime. And then, of course, we never got the ball. Brady, which is fine. The overtime rules are the overtime rules. I don't have any problem with the overtime rules, unlike most of the people in this country.
Yeah, because it's overtime. It's not like another quarter.
Yeah.
If your defense can't stop them.
Exactly.
It's not.
Exactly. So think about this. 4 playoff wins from the time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl in 1969 until the time Patrick Mahomes became the starter in 2018. 4 playoff wins in that time period. 69 to 2018. 49 years. 49 years. 4 playoff wins. And then in his 4 seasons as a starter, he's been in the league 5 years. This is his 4th year as a starter. He only played 1 game his rookie year. In his 4 years as a starter, he has accounted for 8 playoff wins. He has doubled the franchise's playoff win total since Super Bowl IV. He has doubled it in 4 seasons. Don't ever take what you're seeing now for granted. This is unprecedented as a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And I can't thank my lucky stars that my team has a quarterback that has made that much of a difference. And people say, oh, he's got Tyreek Hill. Oh, he's got Travis Kelce. Absolutely, he's got those guys. But those guys played for Alex Smith too, okay? And now, granted, Tyreek Hill only 1 year for Alex Smith, but Travis Kelce had 3 or 4 years with Alex Smith. And he was good, don't get me wrong. He was good for Alex Smith. But he's been better with Patrick Mahomes. He hasn't. Kelce and Hill haven't made Mahomes better. What do you mean? The quarterback makes his receivers better. The quarterback makes the other players around him better. All right. Jiminy Christmas. This has been a tangent among all tangents. And the one person that will end up watching this will probably stop watching after I do my tangents. Okay, here we go. Game number 7. We still got the NFC games to do, or the NFC game to do. You know what? I'm going to stop doing the quarter-to-quarter thing. Let's just do the end of the game. I've had a lot of these things in my mind this week. I needed to get all that out. I needed to vent. Oh, game-winning touchdown for the Chiefs. Okay, so
they've won every single game so far.
Yeah, it looked like the Bengals were going to pull that one out, but the Chiefs won it on a touchdown at the end of the game.
do the highlights of that. See if we can find that game-winning touchdown.
I don't, because it didn't have any video. I don't think it.
Uh,
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, here we are. Game number 8. Oh. This is not how I would think any of these games would go. Oh, overtime. Oh, the Bengals win in
did they
overtime.
only get the ball and then they just kicked a field goal? That's what it looked like happened.
It looked like that,
It didn't
yeah.
look like the Chiefs didn't got the ball. Huh? So it's not.
Yeah, 45 seconds in. Yeah, so that.
So that's they didn't even use the correct overtime rules.
Yeah, that's. I think it's because. Yeah. Well, what do we do with this? Do we count it as a Bengals win because the overtime rule was not followed? The Bengals got the ball first, and they kicked a field goal and won the game. That's not how overtime works. What do we do with this one?
I think you called it a Chiefs win. I think you restart that one.
I mean, I don't want anyone to say, "Oh, they finally won a game, and you're finding a technicality to throw it out." I mean, there is a technicality. The Chiefs didn't get the ball after the field goal. I mean, that is the rule. You do get the ball after a field goal. Field goal on the first possession doesn't end the game, and it ended it here. So that's. Hold on. Let's verify. Oh, that doesn't do anything. Oh no. Oh no, they didn't. Look at this. This is the overtime rule. So Cincinnati got the ball first. 4th and 10, they punted. Oh yeah, and then Mahomes threw an interception. That's why it looks. That's why it only took 45 seconds off the clock. We're like, because
it didn't show everything.
It didn't. Yeah. Okay. All right. No. Sorry. So that's a legitimate win. That's a legitimate win for Tennessee.
For Cincinnati.
Yeah. Whatever. All right. See, I'm glad. I'm glad.
So the rules were right. He threw for 462 yards, though.
All right. So I got to make sure I give Cincinnati their proper due. Oh, can you imagine Mahomes throwing? You stop him on the first drive in overtime, and then you get the ball, and then Mahomes throws an interception. Can you? In no universe can I see that happening.
He wouldn't risk. Like
he would throw it, but I
he
mean,
wouldn't risk. Look at that.
His completion percentages are just.
They're going up every time.
What is this? 38 to 28. All right, we have one more game to do.
Touchdowns.
One more game to do. Here, let's do this one since this is our final one. Let's just do this one by quarter. All right, 7-0 Chiefs at the end of the first quarter. Oh, that looked like a turnover. 21-10 at halftime. Oops. What'd I do? Wow, what's going on here? The Chiefs were winning. Oh, now they're up. Oh, now they're up by 10. And they hold on. So that wasn't as dominated the game. They were trailing in the third quarter, or at the start of the fourth. Okay, so that was a 35-25. 25. That's a weird score. They must have gone for two. Look at that. He 70%, 413 yards and 4 touchdowns. Goodness gracious! Everything we've seen here.
Unless they got like 2 touchdowns and like 4 field goals. No, that would be 26.
So the moral of the story here. Okay. Let's see. I need to do this formula. Hold on. Where's my equals sum? I mean, there's an error. Copy.
Mahomes threw for over 400 yards again. He did that in almost every game.
Okay. Remember what I said? The second game, the 36-22 win, would be really representative of the real life. All right, Chiefs won 9 of 10 in this simulation. 383 points, 237 for the Bengals, so the average score 38.3 to 23.7. So let's round those. 38 to 24. 2 touchdowns. I mean, like I said, Madden is not the end all be all for simulations.
It's the best we got.
It's the best we got, and things exist. You can't simulate emotion and momentum in a video game. They can try, but it's just not easy. But what this shows, though, I mean, if the Bengals were really going to give the Chiefs a game, I think we would see more parity in these results. All right, so who's the home team? The Rams, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a long video. We're not going to talk much about this. We're just going to.
I think the 49ers weren't they the 6th seed?
Yeah. All right, my early prediction is that. Okay, so we're going to put. Hang on, I got to get my spreadsheet right here. Rams, 49ers. Okay, my early prediction. Let's see, they're going to play at 6:30. How I think this Sims go. I think this is going to be. I think the Rams will win 6 out of 10. I think it'll be 6-4. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
I think the Rams are going to end up winning the game though, because I don't think the 49ers.
The funny thing is, the 49ers swept the Rams this year. They've won 6 in a row against the Rams. They've swept them the last 3 years. I mean,
but the 49ers still had a really poor performance against Green Bay.
Yeah, they do because they have a really poor quarterback. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo.
He didn't even have a touchdown.
Jimmy Garoppolo is okay. Maybe Jalen Hurts was the worst quarterback in the NFL playoffs for the Eagles.
They only have 1 touchdown. It was a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, well, special teams, but yeah. Yeah, look at this. 31-14. Yeah, this is, I think, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not going to be a. All right, so that's one. So let's start.
Their completion, his completion, 34%.
He's an awful quarterback. Garoppolo, you mean?
Yeah.
He's awful. If it hadn't been for a really, really good San Francisco defense against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs would have won that game by 4 touchdowns. Honestly. And they still won by 11. All right, so this.
After being down 10 points in the fourth quarter.
All right, so the Niners managed to win this one. What was it, 34-31?
Mm-hmm.
Garoppolo was a little bit. See, that's the thing. Garoppolo's all over the board. He might be really good. I'm never going to say he'll be great, but he might be good, or he could suck completely and lose you the game.
I would rather play the 49ers in the Super Bowl, though. I think.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get with Garoppolo. I mean, I will say the floor, like you have the floor and you have the ceiling for for ups and downs. I think the worst. I think Matt Stafford could actually give you a worse game than what Jimmy Garoppolo did, because Stafford's going to just keep winging it all over the field. He may end up throwing 6 interceptions in a game. Holy cow, 41-38? Jeez. See, that's the thing. The 49ers, they don't have 41 points
The
in them.
49ers could, if we played them in the Super Bowl, they could be on their revenge.
But they're not as good as they were 2 years ago. I know what you're saying though. Dang it! Why do I always do that? Um, the Garoppolo, as bad as he is, he'll go into a shell if he's playing bad, and then they'll protect him. With Stafford, if Stafford's playing bad, they're just going to keep winging it all over the field. But we saw the game. You and I watched the entire game with the Rams and the Buccaneers that the Rams won. But the Rams didn't deserve to win that game. They were awful. They fumbled the ball 5 times, turned it over 5 times, and
They almost lost after being up by like 21 points.
24 points. They were up 27-3. No, it's just I don't fear as a Chiefs fan. I don't fear either of his teams. I guess I was somewhat worried about Green Bay, but then when you look at Green Bay and how just completely maniacally average Aaron Rodgers is in the playoffs, I mean, why would you fear Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs? He's won one Super Bowl with really what was probably the worst Packers team that they've had.
He's probably so bad in the playoffs because he has to play in Green Bay when it's like -5 and it's snowing outside.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is a warm weather quarterback. He really is. All right, so these are kind of on mostly how I think they're going to go so far. 31-21. All right, so we got 5 more to do here. No long rants about these two teams. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve my attention.
I'm just glad Tom Brady's not in the playoffs.
Yeah. Because it's just the whole mystique of Tom Brady. Now, the Chiefs have beaten Brady before. Mahomes has beaten him twice. He's 2-3 against him in his career. Tie game. Wow, the Rams won on a last-minute field goal, 27-24.
They were almost the exact same, the quarterbacks this game.
The Chiefs are just the much superior football team than both of these.
Yeah, these are the kind of the last two teams I would have expected to be.
But in Madden, because they actually have these two teams both have fairly decent ratings, they're gonna when we match them up with the Chiefs next week after the Chiefs just destroy the Bengals, and we do the simulations, it'll be like 7-3 or 6-4 in favor of the Chiefs for the simulations. Okay, there's more. The Rams are winning more than. I mean, I picked the Rams. What I said, 7 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
Oh, I said 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. I was kind of hedging my bets there. I said I thought it could go either way. Really, I didn't think they would. I thought they would win at minimum of 6. I didn't think they'd win more than 7. That's kind of what my thought process was. All right, we have 3 games left to do here. Yeah, this one's going to be a Niners victory. That was the Rams' worst performance of this simulation. So you could almost call that one an outlier. Yeah, that's their lowest point. They've scored in the 30s in every game except that one. They scored 13. That just didn't make a lot of sense. Okay, here we go. Game number 10, or game number 9. All right. So what is that? 23 for the Rams, 34 for the 49ers. Is that right? Yeah.
There haven't been really any close games. They've all been by like 10 or 11 points.
Let's see. Hold on. While this is doing that, let me just get. Oh, it's a lot closer. It's 5-4 right now in favor of the Rams.
That was like what the Chiefs did. Almost.
Okay, so there we go. I said 6 or 7 out of 10. Like I said,
Wow, look at that. Look at that score.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so the Rams won 6 out of 10. They won 6, and the 49ers won 4. Average, so 294 points, 272, so 29.4 to 27.2. So we'll round down on each of those numbers. So 29 to 27, so a 2-point win. So a lot more closer, much more evenly matched teams. Again, what do we take away from this is that the
Simulation is correct, and it's always going to be correct because it has the Chiefs winning.
it's self-fulfilling prophecy. We're rooting for our predictions here. All right, just for giggles, we're not going to record this. We're going to run this. We're going to run this 3 times and see what we get. Events on now. We can do Super Bowl here. Of course, it's still going to put it at SoFi Stadium because that's where it is. And that's another thing I want to talk about here real quick is if the Chiefs and Rams make the Super Bowl, this will be the second year in a row the Chiefs have to play the NFC team on their home field. When it's never happened in NFL history, it'll happen 2 years in a row, both against the Chiefs.
I think Kansas City should get a dome so we can have Super Bowls here.
Well, we tried to, but the proposal was shut down. They were going to put a dome over both Arrowhead and Kauffman Stadium, a retractable roof over both.
Wow, that would be a big project.
Look at this.
30-3.
I said I was going to do this 3 times. You know what? I'm not going to do this 3 times. I'm just going to stop there. I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. Here we go. Chiefs win the Super Bowl 38-3. You heard it here first, folks. Honestly, and I think that I can easily see that happening. Could the Chiefs lose, this weekend to the Bengals, or lose to the 49ers or Rams? Okay, they could lose to the Bengals. They're never in a million years losing to the 49ers. I'm sorry. They're not losing to Jimmy Garoppolo. I could see a case where they could lose to the Rams, but it's Patrick Mahomes would have to be sacked like 10 times and commit like 5 turnovers. Of course, the Rams would still turn the ball over just as many times because Cam Akers can't hang on to the football. All right, so anyway, that's pretty much all we've got for this broadcast here. This last game, obviously, just for fun. We'll do the real simulations for the Super Bowl next week. I'm going to do one more video probably tomorrow afternoon. I'm off tomorrow, so I got most of the day open after I get back from the dentist. I'm going to do some breaking. I'm going to break down, really kind of talk about the numbers, kind of how I went on my rants earlier in this video. I'm going to really kind of break this down with some statistics in a video tomorrow. Really just digesting the Chiefs and the Bengals matchup. I'm not going to do any matchup analysis for the 49ers and Rams because I just don't know enough about those teams. I just don't care, honestly. But we're going to really look at the Bengals and the Chiefs, and the whole purpose of this is to destroy this narrative that the media is trying to spin, that this is going to be just like a repeat either of Week 17 or it's going to. I think they want to see a repeat of what we saw on Sunday night with the Bills and the Chiefs, which was one of the greatest games in NFL history, the greatest game I've ever seen, in my opinion. So, anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a like. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.